Christ is in our midst. Welcome to Spiritual Calisthenics. Today on October 7th, we commemorate St. Sergius and Bacchus, the great martyrs of Syria, Polychronios the Martyr, Julian the Presbyter, and Caesarius the Deacon, John the Hermit of Crete. And so we will begin with St. Sergius and Bacchus. These holy martyrs were Romans of high rank in the service of Emperor Maximian, to whom it was reported that they did not take part in the festivals of the idols. When he called them into his presence, they confessed their faith in the one God. He had them arrayed in women's clothes and paraded them through the streets in mockery. They were afterwards scourged, from which St. Bacchus died. This was about the year 296. St. Sergius was then taken to Rasapha in Syria, where he was tortured and beheaded. His tomb in Rasapha became a very famous shrine, to which pilgrims came from as far away as Western Europe. Rasapha was later renamed Sergiopoulos in his honor. Your martyrs, O Lord, in their courageous contest for you, received as the prize the crowns of incorruption and life from you, our immortal God. For since they possessed your strength, they cast down the tyrants and wholly destroyed the demon's strengthless presumption. O Christ, but God, by their prayers, save our souls, since you are merciful. As we gather, let us crown with sacred hymns of laudation those two brethren in the faith. The great and valorous martyr Sergius was the triune Godhead's most steadfast warrior, and with him wise Bacchus manfully suffered torments, and they both confessed Christ Savior as God, the maker and sacred trainer of all. Continuing with St. Paul's letter to the Ephesians, Brethren, this I affirm and testify in the Lord, that you must no longer live as the Gentiles do, remembering that the Ephesians are Gentiles, in the futility of their minds. In other words, the philosophies of the old world. They're darkened in their understanding, alienated from the life of God because of the ignorance that is in them, due to their hardness of heart. They've become callous and have given themselves up to licentiousness, greedy to practice every kind of uncleanliness. So when we see that we lack God, when we lack that firm foundation, it is very easy for us to become very cold and callous to the world. And as such, that means that we become Epicurean. We become seeking any kind of pleasure, because at the end of the day, what does it even matter? I might as well enjoy my life. YOLO, as they will say, you only live once. And so they give up themselves to any kind of debauchery and selfishness. You did not so learn Christ, assuming that you have heard about him and were taught in him, as the truth is in Jesus. Put off your old nature, which belongs to your former manner of life and is corrupt through the deceitful lusts, and be renewed in the spirit of your minds. Put on the new nature, created after the likeness of God in true righteousness and holiness. Therefore, putting away falsehood, speak truth. When we were baptized into Christ, we put on Christ. We have taken on his qualities, his strengths. And as such, it is important for us to remember, therefore, that we are no longer to live as we once did. Continuing with the Gospel according to St. Luke, the Lord said, To what shall I compare the men of this generation? And what are they like? They are like children, sitting in the marketplace and calling to one another. We piped to you, and you did not dance. We wailed, and you did not weep. For John the Baptist has come eating no bread and drinking no wine, and you say he has a demon. The Son of Man, in other words himself, has come eating and drinking, and you say, Behold, a glutton and a drunkard, a friend of tax collectors and sinners. Yet wisdom is justified by all her children. This is a reference back to the Old Testament work of Proverbs. And so the idea is that Christ our God and John the Baptist presented truth. And whether it was the asceticism, the monastic way, as St. John the Baptist, who ate nothing, or the pastoral way in which Jesus Christ sat with sinners and tax collectors to help minister to them, the people of this generation aren't listening. They have their ears stopped up. It's like when we walk by someone homeless on the street and we don't pay attention. We don't even see them because we're so wrapped up in ourselves and our own deceitful lust. I hope that you've enjoyed today's Spiritual Calisthenics. Have a blessed and wonderful day.